The last 10 years for Tesla have been, well, pretty amazing. They went from 1,500 deliveries of the original Roadster in 2010 to more than 367,000 cars in 2019. Just last quarter, Tesla averaged more than 1,200 deliveries per day. Towards the final days, they were probably delivering more units per day than they did in all of 2010. Over the last decade, Tesla has changed the world's perspective on electric cars. The Model S went into production in 2012, and it's been so great that not even to this day has a single competitor matched it in range, efficiency, and price. Not even the new Porsche Taycan, which was kind of the first electric car to actually challenge the Model S. Last year, Motor Trend was so impressed by the original Model S that they basically said it was the best car they've ever tested in its 70-year history by giving it the Ultimate Car of the Year award. However, not everyone was happy with Tesla. Even though the Model S was arguably the best sedan in the world, critics remained skeptical and ridiculed Elon's efforts. But Tesla powered on. The Model S got better, and then came the slightly over-engineered Model X, which many consider a work of art. However, to meet Tesla's goal of one day producing a mass-market car, it needed affordability, and this would be the Model 3. While it was nothing more than a future product on Tesla's roadmap, the critics were already calling it a failure. They said it would be nothing more than a niche product in the face of competition. They said that it would never compete with a BMW 3 Series.
They almost don't want this car to exist.
Today, though, the 3 Series can't even compete with the Model 3 in almost every category. Perhaps the skeptics could have been right about some things if the competition actually stepped up to the plate to challenge Tesla, but to their dismay, the traditional automakers didn't even try. General Motors released the Chevy Bolt, but it was pretty obvious that they didn't put their full effort into it considering what they're truly capable of. Also, as I said previously, responding to disruption just isn't in the DNA of traditional auto. Instead of risking profits and developing real electric cars, they chose to please regulators by producing compliance vehicles, paying penalties, and purchasing zero emissions credits from Tesla, essentially helping them succeed. They had no idea that what they were actually doing was raising a baby panther they thought was just a house cat. This is understandable because in the car world, panther cubs don't exist. The idea of creating a successful car company was one of the riskiest and foolish adventures that any entrepreneur could attempt. Not even the most successful car companies were immune to failure and bankruptcy. Making an electric car company just took that foolishness one step further. In fact, the idea was so crazy that to them, just taking Tesla seriously seemed foolish, and for a time, it actually looked like the right thing to do. The chances of Tesla succeeding looked grim, and the chances of them becoming a major automaker would be like watching a 12-story building jumping hundreds of miles and landing on its feet in the middle of the ocean. Oh wait. When it comes to cars, building the prototype, that's the easy part. Mass production, though, means building the machine that builds the machine. Even Elon Musk underestimated this with the Model 3 and has since emphasized this fact. For example, the Model Y Unveiled was mostly about how difficult it is to be a real car company. For Tesla, producing the Model 3 was known as production hell. Elon infamously slept in the factory to fix a failed attempt to automate as much of the assembly line as possible. Elon was exhausted, and it was pretty obvious. He later called it the worst time of his life and even admitted that during that time they were once within single-digit weeks of bankruptcy. To save Tesla, they gathered scrap equipment and quickly built an assembly line under a tent outside of the main factory. This time, though, they would utilize more human labor. This was an emergency effort because raw materials and parts for production needed to be ordered months in advance. Tesla was anticipating a smooth production ramp, but this setback eventually had them sitting on billions in inventory that just wasn't being converted to cars or revenue. A quick look at Tesla's financials showcased this. After the Model 3 began production in the summer of 2017, the company was losing nearly $750 million per quarter for one whole year. In the first 4 quarters of production, Tesla had lost nearly $3 billion. That's the equivalent of about 67,000 standard range Model 3s. While everyone made fun of Tesla's efforts, eventually they got their footing in the summer of 2018. Since then, they spent the next year refining the process, improving efficiency, and lowering costs. This allowed them to launch the standard range Model 3 in early 2019 and then start focusing on the Model Y. After that, Tesla set its eyes on the biggest car market in the world, China. But to be price competitive there, Tesla needed to avoid tariffs and the high costs of shipping cars across the globe. Surprisingly, Elon Musk somehow convinced China to give Tesla full ownership of a factory in Shanghai called Gigafactory 3. Most foreign ventures in China require partial ownership by the local government. As an example, Ford has a 50-50 joint venture with state-owned Chang'an Automotive for its production plant in China. The speed in which the Gigafactory 3 was built was absolutely incredible. Tesla broke ground in January of 2019 and it was production ready by the end of the year. Before the turn of the year, it had already produced nearly 1,000 Model 3s. Here we are in 2020 in a new decade that will likely mark a new era for the whole auto industry. The car companies that were probably betting against Tesla's future are now watching their products be displaced. Even Honda is finding that the Accord is threatened by the Model 3 in some markets. This is surprising even to me because the Accord is a great car at a dramatically cheaper price. Considering what Tesla's accomplished over the last decade, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they can do in the future. A decade ago, most people didn't even know who Elon Musk was, and now we have all of this. And with that, thank you for watching.